The first time I clocked in for a zombie shift at the Wendy's off Route 19, it was 15 degrees out, and my breath looked like smoke in the flickering orange light of the busted neon sign. I'd just finished my evening shift, microwaved, some noodles in the back, then punched in again like I hadn't just been there for 9 hours already. That winter, the snow didn't melt. It just stacked on top of itself. People said it was colder than usual, but honestly, I didn't really notice anymore. I was 22, already older than my brother Everett ever got to be. He died in the bathroom here 9 months ago and no one ever talks about it. Not the customers, not the crew, not even me. The only sign he'd ever been alive was the oversized hoodie I wore under my red uniform shirt. It still smelled like Marlboro Reds and Irish Spring. I didn't care what corporate said about dress code. Most nights it was just me and the quiet hum of the fryers, the sticky beep of the register, and the occasional trucker looking for something hot and greasy. The Frosty machine never stopped whining. It was like it had its own damn soul. I started restocking straws obsessively during slow hours. Red, clear, even when the bin was full. Marisol once asked me about it. I told her I liked to keep busy. Then Cole showed up, transferred in from Morgantown with his tired jokes and slicked back hair. He smiled too much and stood too close. Said things like, "You've got good hands for this job," when I handed him a bag. I laughed at first, the way you laugh when something makes your skin crawl and you don't know why yet. At first, Cole didn't seem like the worst. He'd cover the register when a customer's yelling made my chest tighten, and once, when I spilled an entire tray of Frosties, he just chuckled and grabbed a mop. "Better than the last girl," he said. She cried over spilled milkshakes. I wanted to believe he was decent. Wanted it bad. You start making deals with yourself when you're tired. Like maybe this guy is just trying to help. Maybe he's lonely too. Hell, we were all stuck in that fluorescent lit hellhole, pretending. Wendy's wages could stretch past rent and utility bills. Maybe I mistook pity for kindness. Week 3, he started taking smoke breaks with me. Technically, we weren't even allowed to leave the building without a manager's approval, but he always slipped out like he owned the place. I'd follow because he made it sound like rebellion. We'd stand behind the dumpster, him flicking ashes, me staring at the snow turning black by the edge of the lot. One night, he leaned close and lit my cigarette for me. Said, "You got shaky hands, Danny. Always noticed that." I didn't know how to answer, so I laughed and said, "Maybe. I need more iron in my diet." He watched me too long after that. When he showed up at my apartment with a plastic bag full of burger buns, he said, "You mentioned being low on food." I hadn't. Not to him. I thanked him anyway, mostly because I didn't know what else to do. Later that night, I dumped the buns in the trash. Couldn't shake the feeling that he'd memorized my schedule, that he knew too much for someone I only worked drive-thru with. The truth hit slowly, like frostbite. You don't feel it till the damage is done. The blizzard came in hard, thick, wet snow that blanketed everything in under an hour. The day shift barely made it out. By 10 p.m. it was just me, Cole, and one poor high school kid named Jonah who kept texting his mom about road closures. The store manager had already left, promising to check in if conditions allowed. That meant we were on our own. By 1 a.m. the roads were shut down, and the lot was buried. No customers, just the 3 of us and the machines humming like insects. Jonah was passed out on a stack of dry goods boxes, his phone still clutched in his hand. Cole and I were cleaning, at least pretending to. I went into the walk-in to restock cheese slices. I didn't hear Cole come in behind me until the door thunked shut. "Power's out in half the county," he said, breath fogging the cold air. Turned. "So?" He stepped closer. "I think about you a lot, Danny." My stomach twisted. I reached for the door, but he blocked it. "You'd be just like your brother without me," he said. His voice was calm, like he was explaining something reasonable. Then he reached out, thumb slick with ketchup, and wiped it across my cheek. "See? You need taking care of." I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just said, "Get out of the way." He didn't move for a second, but something in my voice must have cut through. He backed off with a half smile like we were sharing a joke. Back on the floor, I told Jonah I wasn't feeling well and sat near the break room. I kept my back to the wall the rest of the night. Every sound made me jump. Every minute felt like a trap counting down. I stopped wearing Everett's hoodie to work after that night. It felt like I'd been hiding behind it too long, like I'd been letting grief keep me in place. That hoodie used to mean something safe, but now it smelled like freezer burn and fryer oil. Like I'd been using it as armor when what I really needed was a way out. I went to Marisol. She worked the day shift, was old school but sharp, kept her eyes open. When I told her about Cole, not all of it but enough, she didn't flinch. Just slipped me a folded receipt with a hotline number inside and a $10 tip like it was nothing. "You don't owe him politeness," she said. "You owe yourself safety." I used my next paycheck to buy a one-way bus ticket to Charleston. My aunt lived there. We hadn't talked in years, but she picked up on the first ring. Said I could crash in her guest room as long as I wanted. No questions asked. Before I left, I told Cole I was being transferred to the Charleston location. He smiled like he'd won something. "Gonna miss our little late-night talks?" he said. I didn't answer. On my last night, I scrubbed the fryer, baskets until my fingers ached, cleaned the Frosty machine one last time. Marisol gave me a nod when I walked out. Jonah fist-bumped me without even looking up from his phone. I didn't say goodbye to Cole. Didn't even look back. Sometimes the only way out is out. Charleston wasn't magic. My aunt's place was cramped, and the bus ride felt like it took days. But I slept through the night for the first time in over a year. Got a job at a diner that served real breakfast all day and didn't let managers pick their own schedule partners. I didn't think about Wendy's much, except when I heard that specific beep the fryers used to make in my dreams. 3 months later, I got a text from Marisol. Just a photo. Cole, standing behind the register, grinning with that same dead-eyed smile. Next to him, a new girl, nervous, straw bin perfectly stacked. I stared at the photo for a long time before deleting it. The Wendy's visor still sits on my dresser. Not because I miss it, not because I'm sentimental, but because it reminds me what survival looked like at 22. A uniform, a busted machine, and saying no, even when your voice shakes. Some nights, I still hear the Frosty machine's alarm in my sleep. I still wake up tasting fake strawberry and panic. But now when I do, I remember that I got out. I left before he could turn me into a ghost like my brother. And that's something. In the summer of 1994, everything felt heavy. The sky, the air, the music. Cobain was gone, and it felt like something inside all of us broke with him. OJ was still running from the law and running across every screen. But me? I was mostly just running from home. Wendy's on Route 9, dead center of a ghost town strip mall, was the only place still glowing after midnight. A flickering red sign over a cracked parking lot, and inside, the hum of the Frosty machine, the scent of stale fry oil that clung to your clothes no matter how many times you washed them. That was where I spent that summer, behind the counter beside Sherry, and under the half-dead fluorescent lights. I was 19, saving for Dutchess Community College. Maybe, mostly just surviving. My mom drank a lot, my stepdad yelled even more, and Wendy's became a kind of shelter. Sherry called it our fort of frozen beef in desperation, which made me laugh more than I'd care to admit. She was 20, studying nursing, always tired but always there. She'd split her meal with me on nights I skipped dinner, said, "The chili wasn't that bad if you added enough hot sauce." We had rituals. I'd chew ice when I got anxious. Sherry would hum Prince songs when she scrubbed the shake machine. And Mr. Kowalski, our manager, would lean on the counter at 3 a.m. with his coffee and bat, muttering about raccoons like he wasn't half scared of the dark himself. That summer crawled along. Quiet nights, a few sketchy customers, nothing we couldn't handle. Until that night, until 2:17 a.m., when everything we built, our jokes, our safety, our stupid little routines, was blown apart by the barrel of a sawed-off shotgun. It started with the jingle of the door. That was normal. We were open 24/7 and sometimes we got the weird ones. Gravediggers, insomniacs, the occasional trucker needing fries and silence. But this jingle felt sharp, like something wrong was walking in. 2 men, ski masks, one tall, one shorter and twitchy, both holding something black and metal. The tall one aimed a sawed-off shotgun straight at the register. "Open the safe," he barked. Sherry stepped forward before I even moved. "There is no safe," she said calmly, voice steady, like she was reading off the value menu. I froze. "Get down, Dana," she hissed, barely glancing at me. "Stay down, Ice Queen." It was our joke. I chewed ice constantly, said it helped me stay calm. She'd started calling me that on slow nights, when we were alone with nothing but fry buzz and bad radio. I dropped behind the fryer station, knees hitting linoleum. The sound of my breath inside my own head was louder than their shouting. "You think this is a game?" the tall one yelled. Then I heard it, TUE shot. Deafening. Final. The sound of the Frosty machine alarmed me, going off immediately after, wailing like some wounded animal. I didn't scream. I couldn't. When I crawled out, hands shaking, the taller guy was already gone. The door swung shut behind him. Sherry was on the floor, her hand still half-reached toward the counter. Her gold cross necklace, the one from her abuela, was bent, metal, scorched. The bullet must have hit the Frosty machine, then her. I remember the way the Frosty spilled out, mixing with the blood on the floor like melted ice cream at a kid's birthday party gone horribly wrong. I never heard her make a sound. The cops came fast. Not fast enough to save her, but fast enough that I was still crouched behind the counter when the sirens hit. Lights flooded the place like daylight, flashing red and blue across the walls we used to lean on and joke against. Mr. Kowalski showed up in slippers, face pale. He didn't even ask what happened, just walked over to her body and started shaking. They taped off the store, took statements. I told them what I could, though my mouth felt packed with cotton. Everything sounded far away. They took the tapes, marked the walls, measured the hole in the Frosty machine like it mattered more than the hole in my chest. The crime scene guys missed stuff. I saw it. The little details. Like how Sherry's fingers were curled around melted Frosty, like she was trying to hold onto something as she went. I didn't tell them that. I just stared until they covered her body with that sheet. Kowalski quit a few days later. Said he was too old for this world. Told me to keep the bat. Wendy's closed for a few weeks. I stayed in my room, clutching a 1994 Frosty coupon I found in my apron pocket. Sherry had given it to me that night. Said I'd earned it for surviving another shift without throwing a nugget at a customer. When the store reopened, everything looked shinier. New uniforms, security cameras that actually worked. They even painted over the bullet hole in the back wall. But the register still beeped the same. The Frosty machine still hummed, like nothing had happened. Only, everything had. I almost didn't come back. Every shift felt like standing in the shadow of something huge and invisible. But I had bills. College wasn't going to pay for itself. And honestly, part of me couldn't leave. A week after we reopened, I dropped a pen behind the register. When I reached down, I found it. Sherry's name tag stuck to the underside of the drawer with a smear of grease. I held it for a long time, ran my thumb over the smudged plastic. Sherry L. In fading letters. I kept it, slid it into my pocket and never told anyone. Customers asked about her, some of the regulars. I gave them the short version. She passed. They didn't ask more. At night, I'd stare out the front window at every white Cutlass Supreme that drove past. The guys who did it, still out there. No leads. Cold case. That's what they called it. I hated how quiet things were. Now, even the Frosty machine seemed softer, like it knew. Some nights I thought I heard her, laughing, humming under her breath. That Prince song she loved. I know it sounds stupid, but grief makes you hear things, see things, like the laugh lines in a stranger's face that feel too familiar, or the gold cross in someone else's collar that catches the light just right. The new girl they hired didn't chew ice. She bit her nails. I taught her the register, just like Sherry taught me. Told her to always count change backward, to smile at weirdos, but never trust a guy in sunglasses at night. Sherry would have liked her. But I didn't tell her that. Some memories I keep to myself. It's been 30 years. I'm 49 now, a nurse. Yeah, went to Dutchess after all. Took a while, but I made it. Sometimes I drive down Route 9 just to see if that old Wendy's is still there. The strip mall's gone, torn down years ago. They put up a gas station and a storage unit where we used to sling fries and talk about dreams we weren't sure would survive, but I remember. I always remember. I keep Sherry's name tag in a drawer next to my Frosty coupon. It's yellowed now. The edge is curled. But I can still picture her holding a half burger out to me, telling me to eat before my stomach started chewing itself. Every time I see a white sedan, I look. Not because I expect to find them. I know how time works. But something in me still checks. And sometimes, only sometimes, I'll hear someone laugh, a woman maybe, in a grocery aisle or on the street, and I'll swear it's her. That sharp little laugh she had when I screwed up an order or burned my hand on the fryer. I never really left that night shift. Part of me still stuck there, chewing ice, wiping counters, waiting for a door to open and everything to go dark again. But I also carry her with me, in the way I offer half my lunch to the new nurse who forgot hers, in how I hum Prince songs without realizing it, in the cross I wear that I bought not because I'm religious but because it reminds me of hers. The world moved on, but I didn't forget. I'll never forget. Some families have faded photographs or old arguments that never get put to rest. Ours had a missing persons report and a receipt for a double-stack combo. My brother Ethan loved working at Wendy's. That might sound ridiculous to anyone who's never worn a polyester visor and stood over a fry vat for 8 hours, but Ethan, he made it an art. He could stack a sandwich with muscle memory, said he liked the rhythm. Bun, sauce, lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles, patty, bun. Order in a loud, messy world. Back then, I was trying to finish my teaching certificate. Our mom, Linda, worked nights at Methodist Hospital, always 1 foot out the door. When Ethan was diagnosed with schizophrenia at 22, it felt like a pothole. We could steer around. His meds kept him steady for a while. He laughed, made jokes again, worked shifts, saved receipts, tried. But by 2019, things cracked. He started talking about the freezer at work, about voices that warned him the Frosty machine was watching. Then he stopped eating during shifts, said Don, the manager, was slipping something into the patties. Don let it slide for months, until Ethan accused a drive-thru customer of being FBI. I was the one who picked him up that night. He sat in my passenger seat, arms crossed, whispering about wires in the ketchup. I didn't say much. I didn't know how. I just wanted my brother back. The one who used to blast Weezer while flipping burgers. The one who remembered every order from memory. 1 week later, he vanished. No note, no wallet, just gone. Into the Dallas heat, into the silence. And the worst part? I'd told him the night before. I'm tired, Ethan. I can't do this again. Tonight. I still hear myself saying that. The first 48 hours were a blur of plastic chairs and cheap coffee. I filed the report, made the calls. Shelters, hospitals, jails. Every operator sounded tired, like they'd heard this story too many times. Mom printed flyers at the nurses' station. She barely spoke, just kept staring at her phone between shifts, hoping he'd text. I checked his old Wendy's every other night, parked across the street like a stalker. Sometimes I thought I saw him, usually just another guy with sunburnt arms and a backpack too light to carry a life. I went to his old apartment to pack it up. His fridge was full of half-eaten snacks and old pill bottles. Some were full, some weren't. There was a note scrawled on a napkin that just said, "Don't trust the redhead." We didn't know what that meant. Mom said we should have forced him into a facility, but Ethan had rights. That's the system. Until someone's a danger, they're free. And even when they're in danger, you have to prove it. It's like trying to fix a flat tire with a wet paper towel. Don, the Wendy's manager, called once. Left a voicemail that said, "Sorry about your brother. He was a weird kid, but he worked hard. Hope he's okay." That was all. Weeks became months. I returned to subbing at a local middle school, teaching social studies to half-asleep 8th graders who knew nothing about schizophrenia, or shame, or how loud silence could be when someone's gone. At night, I kept a burner phone charged, just in case Ethan called, just in case he remembered my number, but he never did. 6 months later, the call came. We found him. Inside the Wendy's on Abrams. After hours, he didn't make it. I said thank you, I didn't know what else to say. They said he broke in through the back door, pulled the latch with something. Maybe a wire hanger, maybe a screwdriver. No. Cameras caught him coming in. No one knew he was there until morning. They found him in the break room curled up under the table. The cause of death was listed as overdose. Not on heroin, not fentanyl, just a cocktail of over-the-counter pills and half-used prescriptions he probably scrounged from donation bins or free clinics. He was self-medicating, or maybe trying to sleep. Maybe both. What broke me wasn't the report. It wasn't the talk screen or the coroner's voice on the line, it was where he was found, back inside that Wendy's. Don said nothing to the press, just gave a no comment to the local reporter who called me. But he came to the funeral anyway. Stood near the back in a shirt one size too small, shifting from foot to foot like he was hoping not to be seen but still wanted credit for showing up. I stared at him for a long time. Thought about confronting him. Then I remembered. Don didn't make Ethan sick, he just didn't know how to help. Neither did I. The service was short, mostly family, a few of Mom's nurse friends. No one from Ethan's side of life because his illness made his world small. He lost friends quietly over time, not with fights but with forgetfulness, missed calls, strange stories, fear. After everyone left, I sat by his urn and pulled something from my wallet, Ethan's name tag. Still scratched, still sticky from old grease. I held it in my palm like a keepsake, or maybe an apology, for every time I thought he could just snap out of it. For every time I stayed silent. I still go back sometimes, to that Wendy's on Abrams. The fryers have been replaced, new tile, different staff, but the bones of it are the same. I sit in the corner near the window, same spot Ethan used to eat, his free meal. I order the same combo he always got. Double stack, no pickle, fries, small Frosty. The food's the same, but it doesn't taste right. The fries especially. They always taste a little stale now. I keep his name tag in my wallet. Front slot. Right next to my school ID and my debit card. Some people carry photos of their kids or partners. I carry a reminder. A square plastic tag with his name and grease stains and the ghost of a smile. People don't talk much about schizophrenia, unless it's in a courtroom or on the news, when it's too late. But the truth is, most days it's quiet. It's missed appointments and skipped doses. It's conversations that go sideways halfway through. It's a freezer whispering secrets to someone who just wants to feel safe again. I started volunteering at a local outreach center last year, one night a week. I help folks fill out housing forms or just sit and listen. Sometimes I tell them about Ethan. Not everything. Just enough so they know I'm not just another person passing through. Mom still works night shifts. Says she doesn't sleep well anyway. We talk more now. Less about the what-ifs, more about how we're still here. That counts for something. I teach full-time now. 7th grade civics. I still leave the burner phone charged on my nightstand out of habit. Some things, I guess, you never put away. The last time I saw Ethan, he was standing in our kitchen holding a spatula like it was sacred. He'd cooked burgers. Real ones. Not Wendy's. Had the whole setup. Buns toasted in the oven, onions grilled down to almost candy, American cheese melting just right. He looked proud. "Tell me this doesn't beat Don's rubber patties," he said. I took a bite. It was good. Real good. We laughed. Then, a shift. Quick, like storm clouds rolling over sunlight. He went quiet, sat down, looked out the window. There, tracking me again, he whispered. Through the freezer. through the ketchup packets. I said the wrong thing, told him he was spiraling, told him he needed to take his pills, to call his doctor, to try harder. He stood up, grabbed his coat, and walked out. That was the last time. Now I remember the burger more than the fight, the way he pressed the bun just so, like he was making something that mattered. That's the thing about people like Ethan. We only remember the diagnosis, the breakdown, but before that, he was a guy who memorized the burger chart on day one, who sang too loud in the car, who once gave his entire lunch to a stray dog outside the store. He wasn't perfect, but he deserved more time, a better system, a softer world. Some nights I dream of him behind the Wendy's counter again, smiling, making food that tasted like home. And when I wake up, I think maybe, just maybe, I can help the next Ethan not disappear, because in the end, that's all I can do now. And the fries, yeah, they really do taste different. No one makes them like he did. You don't think about danger when you put on the visor. You think about grease stains, maybe a broken shake machine, but not how fast something can go sideways. I've worked the graveyard shift at the Wendy's off I-80 in Reno for 8 months. Started last winter after my car got repoed and I fell behind on rent. Aaron, my roommate, said they were hiring. I hated the idea, but bills don't care about pride. Our Wendy's sits between a shuttered Payless and a truck stop that smells like wet socks and diesel. The dining room closes at 10, and after that, it's just us, the drive-thru headset and whatever weirdness rolls through the speaker. Aaron runs the window. I'm on grill and headset. We split everything, rent, shifts, even caffeine pills, when the nights get long. Lately, every night feels like molasses and static. The AC's busted more often than not, and the smell of old fryer oil settles in your pores. No matter how much you scrub, it sticks. Every night around 1:30 a.m., Alex shows up. Casino security guard from the Strip. Tall guy, clean uniform, always tired. He orders the same thing, baked potato, plain, and a small Frosty. Says it helps. Him come down after his shift. Leaves $2 in the tip jar every time, no matter what. I like Alec. He never asks for more than we can give. On that July night, the air was thick. One of those dead Nevada nights where the sky's too big and the parking lot hums like it knows something's about to happen. I was halfway through scraping the grill when the speaker crackled. Yo, you mess up our order, we're coming in. The truck's engine growled behind the words. The first time you hear someone threaten you over a cheeseburger, it's almost funny, like they're kidding. But when it's past midnight and the parking lot's empty except for a rusted-out Ford with 4 guys in it, nothing's funny anymore. The voice came through the drive-thru speaker, all static and heat. Something about missing fries. Aaron muttered, "Here we go." Under his breath, reached for the receipt. "You got 3 burgers and 2 fries. That's what you paid for," he said into the mic. "Read your damn order." Bad call. The truck didn't pull forward at first, just revved its engine. Long enough that the fryer buzzer started screaming behind me. Then tires squealed, and they were at the window, 4 guys. All white, all drunk. Passenger seat guy had a busted knuckle and a trucker hat that said, "Send it." He slammed his fist on the window once, twice. Aaron opened it just an inch. "Where's my damn fries?" The guy barked. "You didn't order 3, you ordered 2, Aaron said, holding up the receipt like it proved something. Trucker hat leaned in. "You calling me a liar?" Then Alex stood up from his spot by the trash can. I didn't even see him walk up. He looked calm like he always did. "Hey," he said, "it's just burgers. Chill out." That's when the passenger door flew open. Trucker hat was out first, swinging wild. Alec caught a punch to the side of the face, stumbled. The other guys poured out, kicking, yelling, fists flying. One of them knocked over the trash bin. Something inside shattered. I froze. Just stood there, watching. Like time had slowed and I forgot how to move. Aaron grabbed my arm. I remember that part so clearly. His hand was shaking, but his voice was calm. "Inside, now." We slammed the window shut, locked the drive-thru door, and ducked under the counter. From there, we could hear everything. Boots scraping pavement, fists hitting, flesh Alec grunting, then silence. For a second I thought it was over. Then I heard tires screeching, the pickup tearing off, one of the taillights busted. They were gone before I even stood up. Alec wasn't moving. I ran outside. Aaron tried to stop me, but I didn't care. Alec was lying on the curb, face turned, toward the dumpster. His Frosty had spilled across the pavement like blood. I called 911. First thing they asked was if it was still an active scene. I said no. They said help was on the way. Then I waited and counted. 12 minutes. I know because I watched the seconds tick by on the drive-thru register screen. The paramedics finally rolled up. One checked Alec's pulse. The other started asking me questions I barely understood. I was still holding the headset like it could explain anything. They loaded Alec into the ambulance. His face was swelling fast, one eye already shut. His casino badge had been torn off, lying beside a crushed pack of gum. Aaron sat on the back steps, chain smoking, said he could still hear the crunch of Alec's head hitting concrete. The cops showed up 15 minutes later, took statements, didn't promise much, said something about the security cameras being too fuzzy to get a plate number. When they left, the drive-thru speaker lit up again. "Can I get a Baconator and a Coke?" I didn't answer. Alec survived, but barely. The hospital said his skull had a hairline fracture, a few broken ribs, and swelling on the brain. His sister flew in from Oregon, set up a GoFundMe to cover the bills. I donated half my tips for weeks, not because I'm some kind of saint. I just needed to do something that didn't feel useless. Aaron quit the next morning. Didn't give notice. Just walked out with his last Frosty and a "screw this place." Said every loud car made his stomach drop. I stayed. I didn't have the luxury of leaving. Rent's still due. And nobody else in this town is hiring a 25-year-old with no car and a spotty record. The manager put in panic buttons. Big red ones under the counter like we're in a damn bank. But to cover the cost, he cut hours. Less staff, more shifts alone. Makes you wonder what the point was. Every night I think about Alec. Wonder if he still likes Frosties. Wonder if he remembers what hit him. His sister said he was learning to walk again. That he might not go back to work. Probably won't ever come back to our Wendy's. Can't blame him. The drive-thru's quieter now, but that doesn't mean it's safe. You can feel it in the way headlights make your hands twitch, in how your shoulders clench when a truck idles too long. One guy stepped out to check his tire last week and I almost hit the panic button. You can't explain that kind of fear. Not really. And the thing that eats at me most? All Alec did was tell someone to chill out. Some nights, when the rush dies down and the parking lot goes still, I stare out at the spot by the dumpster. The blood's gone. The trash bin's been replaced. But I still see Alec's body curled up there. Still, hear the slap of his head hitting pavement. It doesn't go away. We talk about heroes like they're supposed to wear capes or uniforms. Alec wore a casino badge and liked plain baked potatoes. He didn't die that night, but something in all of us cracked a little. I don't eat Frosties anymore. Can't. A few weeks after it happened, Alec's sister sent a card to the store. Thanked us for being kind to him. Said he always liked coming by. Said it gave him a sense of routine. Said he smiled when we remembered his order without asking. I keep that card in my apron pocket. Some days it feels heavier than the headset. The police never caught the guys. Said the plates didn't show up and the camera angle was bad. I memorized that truck anyway. Dented tailgate, busted right tail light, rear bumper sticker with a faded American flag. Sometimes I still look for it. It's not about revenge. I just want to ask why. Why would someone beat a man half to death over fries, but I already know the answer. Because they could. Because the world's not fair. Because Alec happened to be the one who spoke up. Now every night I go back. Not because I want to, but because I can't afford not to. I take orders. I bag food. I hand out napkins with shaking hands. And I never forget. They never even got their damn fries. I started working the graveyard shift at the Wendy's on MLK in Memphis after everything else in my life dried up. It wasn't supposed to be forever, just long enough to figure out my next step. Funny thing is, that's what I said a year ago, too. This Wendy's is the last business standing in a dying strip mall. There's a boarded-up Payless 2 doors down and a check-cashing place with more bulletproof glass than a gas station in Detroit. Nothing good happens here after midnight, but the doors stay open. Why? Mr. Patel, the owner, says it's good business. What he really means is he doesn't trust banks and likes the way the register hums at 3 a.m. My name's Marcus Johnson. I'm 23. Dropped out of community college when my dad stopped paying tuition. Said I needed to figure life out. I did. I figured out you can sleep in a 2004 Corolla if you fold down the passenger seat and crack the windows just enough to breathe without getting mugged. I work nights because no one asks about the past, no background checks. Mr. Patel doesn't care that my food handler's permit expired 2 years ago. Doesn't care that I smell like old oil and depression. Just as long as the register closes square and the food costs stay under budget, every shift starts the same. Fryer starts whining at 2:07 a.m. like it hates being alive as much as I do. I restock sauce packets, half listen to the hiss of burger, grease, and keep my eye on the front in case someone wanders in barefoot or belligerent. We got regulars, Cherise and Dion. They come in like clockwork after the club shut down. She orders baked potatoes, loads them up with sour cream and attitude. He gets Baconators, too, usually. Sits across from her like a man already halfway out the door. Some nights they laugh like they're high school sweethearts again. Other nights, she storms out in tears while he finishes her fries. Me? I don't get involved. I clean the same counter twice, refill ketchup, and keep the baseball bat under the counter close. It's supposed to be for raccoons, but I haven't seen a raccoon since spring. What I did see, though, what I can't unsee, started on a humid Tuesday morning in July. It was 3:17 a.m. when Cherise stumbled in. She had one shoe on, the heel of the other still probably lying, on Beale Street. Her mascara looked like it had taken a punch. I didn't say anything, just nodded. She didn't order right away, just slid into the corner booth like she'd been stabbed and needed to bleed in private. She stared out the window like the parking lot had answers. Dion came in 10 minutes later, his polo shirt clinging to him, like plastic wrap. Sweat poured off him, and he had that look again. That tight, jaw-clenched fury he wore when he was about to say something cruel enough to echo. They started arguing. First about straws, always about something stupid. You always. Forget my fucking straws, she snapped, slamming her palm on the table. He tossed his hands in the air. They're right there, just get one. I turned up the fryer so I wouldn't have to hear them, it didn't matter. The words cut through everything. Then, out of nowhere, Dion picked up the condiment stand. It was one of those metal caddies, with salt, pepper, napkins, ketchup, and mustard. He didn't even yell when he threw it. It hit her temple with a wet smack. Ketchup packets exploded on impact, spraying the glass and her face like blood. She slumped sideways, hitting the vinyl. Booth with a dull thud, I froze. My hand was already on the bat, but I didn't move. I couldn't. The security camera blinked red above the soda machine. I knew Mr. Patel was watching, probably already halfway through his third instant coffee, muttering in Gujarati about payroll. Dayan didn't even check on her, just stepped over her body like she was someone else's problem and picked up his bag. Extra bacon, right? He asked. I nodded without thinking, and then he left. I didn't call 911 right away. I just stood there. After maybe 5 minutes, I grabbed the mop and bucket from the back. The health inspector fines you if blood dries on the floor. I knew that, so I mopped around her. For 22 minutes, they came with sirens, ambulance, police, noise, all too late. Cherise survived. Barely. The booth got roped off with caution tape. It didn't last long. Customers still sat there by the weekend, sipping Frosties like nothing had happened. Me? I started dreaming in red. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that ketchup splash across her cheek. I scrubbed the floors twice as hard after that. Didn't sleep in my Corolla for a few nights. I just drove, listening to the same songs until the sky turned purple. A week later, I found her earring under the soda machine. One of those thin gold hoops with the little cross. I pocketed it, but I never called anyone. I didn't know what I would say. Hey, I found a piece of your trauma. No thanks. I kept it though, I don't know why. Mr. Patel never mentioned it. Never asked if I was okay. Just said the insurance claim cleared and told me to keep receipts from now on and correct something like this happens again. People are built different in this city. You get used to trauma like it's background noise. But then Dion came back. It was almost 4 a.m., dead quiet except for the hum of the fridge and a guy in the back booth nodding off over a $1 menu burger. That's when he walked in. Dion, same sweat-stained polo, same sharp eyes. Like a dog waiting for someone to flinch, he didn't say a word. Walked up to the counter and ordered 2 baked potatoes. Anything else? I asked. No. He took a booth on the far side. The same booth. He didn't use a fork. Just opened them up and started eating with his fingers. He stared at me the whole time. Didn't blink. I felt the bat's handle under the register. Cold. Solid. I wanted to ask why. I wanted to yell. But all I did was refill the napkin station. I never saw him smile. Not once. He finished both potatoes, wiped his hands on his shirt, and walked out. No words. That was the last straw. I texted Mr. Patel at 6:01 a.m. after the shift ended. I'm done. Good luck. Didn't even wait for a response. I peeled off my visor, tossed it on the dash, and pulled out of the parking lot for the last time. The bat sat in the passenger seat like a silent co-pilot. I hit I-40 west with no real plan. Just me, the hum of my engine, and a greasy uniform that still smelled like fries and bleach. I didn't know where I was going. Didn't matter. Anything was better than that booth, than that shift, than being another ghost behind the counter of a place that never really closed.